Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Super Saturday. I am super excited to be here. I want you guys to share this stream now and let everyone know that we have a living legend in our midst today. I am going to make sure that I share. I want you guys to share. And while you're jumping on, please let me know where you're listening from so that we can give you a shout out. Tell me your name. Tell me where you are in the world today. I'm out here in the Midwest in St. Louis, Missouri, and it is cold, people. We are experiencing an Arctic freeze. It's like single digits and -14 and snow and all kinds of things. But guess what? This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it because I know somebody didn't wake up this morning. Lord knows we lost another legend this morning. Dr. Frederick K.C. Price lost his battle with COVID. And God, it's just a very difficult time. So please be in prayer for his family. And this morning, I did share. Good morning, Miss Tangela. I'm trying to share this to your page. I'm not sure if you can, Dr. Payton, share to your page. Sometimes this thing acts a little bit weird and it won't let me share.
You might have to walk me through it.
That's okay. I'm going to just go to your page and see if I can post the link on there.
All right.
And then hopefully it will let me find you. So welcome to Super Saturday. I am your hostess, Shanice Miller Thomas, and I am here with the Dr. Denise Payton this morning. And I want you guys to grab your coffee, get your breakfast or your lunch, depending on what side of the world you're on today. I want you to get ready because today is going to be magnificent. I am so excited. I have known Dr. Payton for almost 30 years. It was back in 1993 whenever she first graced us with her presence down in Sampson County at Hopton High School. We were having our all-county chorus conference, and I just immediately fell in love with her. Anybody who knows her would definitely know that she is just a beautiful spirit, a beautiful person. Yeah, it's not letting me post. Let me see if I can tag you in the post also, because I want to make sure that people get this right now. There, that's what I can do. I can tag her there. You guys do the same. Please tag and share this morning. I'm going to be getting started in just a moment. I want to make sure we have all of our people here so that I can celebrate this morning. So the beautiful sound that you heard at the beginning of this video was none other than Dr. Denise Payton. And she is an instrument and a vessel of God. And God truly uses her. And she just, I can't say enough about her. I could go on and on. So I'm going to let her speak this morning. Dr. Payton, would you greet the people this morning and just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank God for the day that He has made. I'm coming to you from the great small town of Spring Lake, North Carolina. I never say Fayetteville because I'm a hometown girl from a small town and grew up here. Went to Pine Forest High School for anybody out there who knows. And that wasn't my plan, but I'm sure I'm sure God looks at us sometimes whenever we put up our plans and He says, "Yes, that's what you think." Um, I am basically a musician, a minister of music, choral director, vocal teacher. I'm blessed with two children that are 37 and 32. They're grown, but they kind of followed in my footsteps and they are exceptional musicians. And every time they sing or do something, I'm still the mom that might have been whenever they were 4 or 5 saying, "Yes, yes, beautiful." I still really strive to uplift. I feel like there's enough destruction and I can't find any other word than say evil in the world today, and people
Yeah.
need encouragement. And that's what I try to do. I'm the seventh born child of James and Larice Murchison. And so sometimes you might see I hold on to that Murchison name uh, because that's my daddy. And so, but basically, I'm just happy to be here with you. Shanice is just a sweetheart. I've loved her. She said she loved me, but it was something about that beautiful smile that you see this morning that endeared her to me. And never had a crossword and have always remained very respectful. And I genuinely can say that I love her. So when she offered the opportunity, I wanted to come on and to do it. So I hope, if you have any questions, just ask me. I don't have any problem talking. You might have to just kind of slow me down and say, "Okay, wait, we haven't got into that part yet." But I'm very happy to be with you this morning. You're dealing with 6 degrees, and I'm dealing with 36 degrees. But
Wow.
it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I think that one of the things that drew me, and I'm going to try not to cry this morning, because every time I think of this woman, and she doesn't know the impact that she's had on my life for so many years. Because even though I first met her in high school, I ended up coming to work at the school where she was teaching and became her assistant principal. So that was very ironic. But in high school, whenever I heard her voice and how she sang, oh, um, I saw myself because I didn't fit into the mold of what people considered a traditional gospel singer. We grew up in the Bible Belt and everybody was hemming and hawing and yelling and doing all of these runs. And that just wasn't me. And I tried, I would listen to songs and I would try to make my voice like that. But when I heard her sing, it was like, oh, that's what I sound like. And it's beautiful. And it didn't have to be, some, orchestral display of every note that you can produce in your body. It didn't have to be that. It was just using the instrument, that God gave you. And she demonstrated that to me. And so that year, they chose, I think it was a male and a female for a scholarship. And I got chosen for the scholarship. And it meant the most in the world to me. And it built my confidence so much so that I wanted to become a music teacher like her. I was like, this is my life's plan. This is what I'm going to do. I ended up not becoming a music teacher. I won't put the person, out there who discouraged me from that. Well, you don't know how to do this and you don't know how to do that. And what about this and that? And there's not a lot of jobs for, but I knew that was what I wanted to do. So anyway, I did go into education, but it was elementary education. But music has always been so close and dear to my heart. And so just not only seeing her in the light of someone who, was a role model from musical standpoint, but from the standpoint of someone who knew the Lord. So Dr. Payton, tell us about your personal testimony and how you came to know the Lord.
Uh, I'm going to piggyback a little bit on what you talked about. My aim in my life is
Mm.
always to encourage. And I wish that I had had a chance to talk with you after you were talked out of
Mm.
being a music teacher, because there is healing in music.
Yes.
Now, with me, at the I've been singing since I was 5 years old. Believe it or
Mm.
not, WIDU used to broadcast from uh, different schools, and this was during segregation, because this was about 1966 or
Wow.
67, and they needed someone to sing the Lord's Prayer,
Mm.
and it ended up being me, and I was not even yet 10. I
Wow.
knew then that my voice was different. Whenever I would go to church and everyone would be singing the hymns, my voice kind of carried over everyone else, but everyone would look back at me like, "What are you singing? Why do you sing
Mm.
like that?" And unfortunately, no offense, but just being in an honest conversation, I was asking
Right.
my own people, why did I sing like a white person?
Yes.
And that is just a fact. And so I began to ask God, because
Mm.
I'm not classified as a gospel singer. I consider myself an inspirational singer. Um, I do sing opera and jazz and pop. I sing every genre. I learned to sing every genre, but I
Mm-hmm.
ask God specifically because whenever I sing music of faith, I'm having a conversation with God. I
Yes.
want to be in His presence. I'm not moved by this.
Right.
I'm not moved by. And most of the time, my eyes are closed, and I couldn't tell you who was standing up or anything, because really and truly, I will. If you see me singing at a church, the first thing you see me do is I hold my head down. It's not
Mm.
because I'm afraid. I'm whispering a prayer, because my prayer is always to allow me to decrease and God increase. And I say
Mm.
that because whenever you have any kind of exceptionality,
Mm-hmm.
uh, people will put you on a pedestal. And if you're not careful, you'll
Yes.
believe that stuff. You'll believe it. I've been down the diva road. You'll believe it.
Yes.
But then when it comes to knowing that God blessed you with that,
Mm.
and it's unique and it's for someone, it may not
That's
be for the masses. It may not be for those who are making the money. Because I'll tell you a joke. Sometimes I listen to people on TV and I say, man, if they got $1 million, I ought to have about $50 million, because
right.
there is, there is no singing going on. This is a performance, and
Yes.
that's not what Christian music is about. So I continued to kind of talk to God about it. But no, at that particular time in my life, I was not super saved. And, let's be honest about it. I mean, we're not, you're still a part of the world. But I never left the church. And that
Mm-hmm.
music I found was the most uplifting for me. I've had none of everything that the Lord has allowed me to achieve was never on my so called list. And it was fraught with twists and turns and curves and holes. Some dug by people that I thought loved me. I
Mm-hmm.
thought loved me. But
Right.
uh, when I realized that Jesus loved me, this I know.
Yeah.
For
Woo.
the Bible tells
Mm.
me so. When I really, 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 really took that child song, as we call it, and brought it into
Yes.
my heart, then I say, I have something to give. So, God, I am going
Mm.
to be faithful with what you gave me. So, if
I
I'm
love that.
singing a Mariah Carey song, if I'm singing a Whitney Houston song, I sing it like Denise Payton. I don't try to hit every
Mm.
note they do. I can't do that because, see, to me, that's a false representation. I just sing like I sing, but I do praise God. I may have been Shanice at my wits end and at my lowest point when I really allowed God to take control.
Mm-hmm.
I've always believed in God. I've grown up in the church. I don't miss a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
My schedule is very busy, but when I show up, I'm there. And people sometimes will not ask me to do things because they know that I'm busy, and I my response to them is let me decide
Mm-hmm.
if I'm too busy. So it was later on in my life when God took complete control, and He has complete control now. And when things come at me, there is nothing that I am going to do to mess up the
Mm-hmm.
relationship that I have with God right now in my life. Had it not
Amen.
been for His grace and His mercy, I wouldn't be sitting here today in my
Amen.
right mind and able to talk with you today. So I give
Yeah.
God all the praise. And the
Mm-hmm.
enemy will say, you can't be forgiven. You can't be forgiven uh, because you did this. That's the enemy. And you have to recognize when the enemy is making noise in your head and in your mind, and you have to
Mm-hmm.
rebuke him and keep pressing. So
Amen.
God has been in my life my entire life. I come from a family who my father had family prayer, and I came from meager beginnings. Um, my parents were poor. I didn't know it. We were poor,
Mm.
but I had everything I needed. So, I didn't know anything else. So, but you know what that did for me? That made me appreciate everything that someone does for me because people don't have to do anything,
Right.
and I love teaching, but we'll get into that. But teaching was not what I was going to do on my
Mm.
on my list. I
On your plan.
never, ever, ever intended to be in anyone's classroom. That was not my
Mm.
desire whenever I was blessed to attend North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. And that's why I
Mm.
prefaced early. I know God really smiles and says, "Yeah, you think that's what you're going to do? Okay, all right. I'll let you think that." Um, Never intended to be doctor. Never intended any of those things. So
Mm.
if I
Mm-hmm.
look at it, it was really at my lowest point that I actually heard God say, "I'm here. Let it go, and let me take control."
Mm.
And I was
Mm.
afraid to do that because I'm a little control freak. Just that type A personality. Yeah,
Yes.
I can admit. See, that's one thing that
Me too.
I'm blessed. I think that I exceed at. I don't have a problem laughing at myself. I don't have a problem, you know, accepting things as they are. I do not like confusion. If you sow confusion, I'm gone the other way because
Mm-hmm.
life is too short for that, and misery loves company. So but God is in control now. So I'm 63 years old. So I can say at least for the last 40 years,
Mm-hmm.
God has been in complete control. But I'm not going to sit here and dare tell you, oh, I found the Lord when I was 5. No, I didn't. I was playing and I was having a good time. And and at 10, I was playing softball and riding my bicycle. You know, at 15, I was learning how to drive my brother's 1966 stick shift Mustang. No, but I went to Sunday school and church every Sunday.
That's right.
We had a 4 o'clock afternoon service for the youth at our church, Bethel AME Zion Church. I went to all of that, but I'm not going to give the pretense that I was perfect.
Amen.
Absolutely not. Still not perfect. Still ask God for
Mhm.
forgiveness. You think whenever you come to Christ, those crazy things don't come in your mind. Yes, they do. But there's something within you that holds the reins and they don't get a chance to come out.
So good. I could just let you talk. I don't. I'm like, I don't even care about these questions. I could just listen to you talk all day. And that is one thing growing up in the South that I learned to value the voice of the elders, because they had so much wisdom. And my grandma, she always thought I was being nosy. She called me 55. 55, get out of grown folk conversation. Why are you in here? But their conversation always seemed more interesting to me than what the kids were talking about. So I just have always enjoyed just sitting at the feet of those who have wisdom, because it will help you, to make some, to stay on that straight and narrow path and not make those same mistakes, because they can say, hey, I've been there.
Right, right. And you just an old soul. That's how I refer to people like you. You're an old soul. And God knew that He had a different plan for you.
He
So
did.
you were gaining all that wisdom,
He
but you
did.
didn't know why. You know why now, but
Right.
you didn't know why then.
That's the truth.
That's God sets us up for those things, and you
Mm.
go, wait, oh, wait, oh, okay. I used to do that too. My mother would tell me, "Get out of here, gal. Go on in the back." Another thing you talk about my singing. My mother used to holler in the room and say, "Girl, please stop squalling in that room." Because I would come home excited, singing every aria and whatever I learned that particular
Mhm.
week. And my dad would come to my rescue and he'd say, "That's what we're sending
Mm.
that girl to college to do."
Wow. That
So
is so important.
um, it's
That's important.
it's God is just awesome. Even when we're at our lowest point, He's
Hmm.
preparing us. Daryl Coley used to say, "He's preparing me."
Ooh, yes.
And so He's preparing us. I have been very, very low in my life, and no one would ever know it because, unfortunately, when you grew up at the time I grew up, you wore a mask.
Right.
A lot of people, because I'm smiling and
Hmm.
kind, and I'm always joking around. I'm always, they used to call me the life of the party. Oh, ain't nothing's gonna happen until Denise gets here. But they didn't know just how broken my heart was,
Mm.
how broken I was. But um, the mask, I think we need to kind of go on and shed that now. Um, but you're taught to be strong. Buck up, suck it up, keep going, get it. But you do
That's
have
right.
to acknowledge that you're broken.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm very transparent, probably much to my detriment with some people because, uh,
Mm.
they will say, well, they didn't experience anything like that. Oh, I know. I thank God for my sound mind because my life has been such that I could have lost it, but God
Hmm.
saw differently. And so, therefore, I tell people you can't witness to anyone else about struggle, or if you haven't been through any, you can tell me, oh, it's going to be all right. And you got a two-person household, and you're not worried about how you're going to pay the bill.
Mm.
You can go someplace and just get
Mhm.
whatever you want. I still ponder. Well, should I do this? Okay. Don't know how much longer I'm going to be teaching. So you get a lot of wisdom. But even in that, I turn back to my music. And Everybody has,
Mm-hmm.
if you're honest with yourself and if you really think about it, and most people don't really internalize it, everybody has a go-to song. Everybody has a go-to song when they're struggling.
Mm-hmm.
My go-to hymn is
Yes.
"Great Is Thy Faithfulness," morning by morning.
Why don't you sing a little bit of that?
Great is thy faithfulness, O
Mm-hmm.
God, my Father. There is no
Mm-hmm.
shadow of turning with thee. Thou
Mm-hmm.
changest not, my companion, they fail not. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. That's that personal connection.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's a
Yes.
hymn. And see, that's
Whew.
traditional and that will stay. People love contemporary music. I like contemporary music, but it has a word in it, temporary. And it's good for that particular
Right.
time. But I'm gonna tell you, whenever
Mm-hmm.
you're struggling in your life, you're gonna go back to precious Lord.
Mm.
Take
Mm. Mm-mm.
my hand,
Yes.
lead me on. Let
Mm-hmm.
me stand. And for the history, can I give you just the history of that song a little bit?
Please. Yes. Yes.
And I want to tell people that don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Dorsey wrote Precious Lord. Thomas Dorsey used to be the piano player for Ma Rainey. His nickname
Really?
was Barrel House Tom. But then
Wow.
he started his national gospel choirs and choruses.
Mm-hmm.
And he was on the road. Okay, there were no cell phones. They couldn't use the bathroom. They lived in people's homes, etc., etc. His wife was in labor.
Mm.
His wife was in labor. And he got a telegram that she was in distress. Well, there was no plane
Mm.
for him to jump on, no train for him to jump on. So by the time he got there, his wife had passed. And
Ooh.
2 days later, or a day or so later, the baby passed. And he buried the wife and the baby in the same casket. And he took out his pen and paper. And the only thing he could say was, "Precious Lord, take my hand,
Mm.
lead me on, let me stand. I'm tired, I'm weak, I'm worn. Through the storm, through the rain." You know, so
Mm-hmm.
so that is the basis behind that. And there are so many people that sing and they rip and run up and down the, what you call it, all them in music, the melismatic phrase, but
Mm-hmm.
running everything. And I'm saying, you don't
Mm.
know the history behind this song, or you wouldn't put
Mm.
26 notes on the word precious,
Ooh.
because there are some things that don't need to be fixed. Thomas Dorsey was having a
Mm.
conversation with his God because he was devastated. He lost his wife and his child, and he put them in the same casket. And there is one verse to that song that has never been published. And I happened to, in my lifetime in the 80s, become a part of Thomas Dorsey's convention. And I was in the soloist bureau of the
Wow.
alumni chorale, and I taught voice in that. And this was during his lifetime. He had begun to have dementia. And he would sit there and very seldom have any kind of reaction. His face was blank. But as soon
Mm-hmm.
as Precious Lord played, there was an immediate response from him. And his
Mm.
hand would shake and he would put his hand up. And when you see things like that, this is when you know the importance of music in our culture, in our lives. But it has to be real. People can sing, and they
Yes.
can sing better than me, and they can rip and run, and they can sing better than me. I have sense enough to know I'm not the greatest singer in the world, but I try my best to have a connection with my God, with whatever I'm
Yes.
asked to sing. And there's a saying that I have posted everywhere in my house, in my office: when words fail, music speaks.
Mm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and then sometimes silence. Sometimes I will just have silence because the world is full of noise.
Yes.
And when I say noise, if I were to give you the definition I give my students, I say music is organized sound and noise is unorganized. But there's a lot of unorganized sound around. And for you to
Ooh,
see
that's a good one.
sound, if you will, then it requires a different approach. And anytime I've
Yes.
taken many a stands, I don't know if it's stands or stance, but anyway,
Mm-hmm.
when you take a stand in any regard, know that you are going to be alone.
Mm. Mm.
Be prepared to be alone.
Wow.
Because misery is what loves company.
Yes.
If somebody can get you on the bandwagon because all they want to do is talk about how bad you are and how this and that, I'm not going to let this happen. And they don't realize, Lord, I pray for them. I say, you are miserable. You don't even like yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're miserable if your life is just based on what others are not doing. How are
Mm-hmm.
you taking care of your soul? How are you taking care of your mind? Um, but
Mm.
because of the noise, I have to have the music. I have to
Mm-hmm.
have the music. So during this pandemic, it's been difficult, but I've still been singing. I meet my choir in person, but we all look like we're going to space because we have on. I've got singers masks that look like duck bills. They come out this far, and just I've got spray and Clorox water and everything, just trying to stay safe because I'm
Yeah.
not in the age group right now where they're giving the vaccine. I'll stop talking, Shanice. Going out to I told you I'll go on and on and on.
I am enjoying this. I am really enjoying this.
I'm so
It's
comfortable with you. You're like my goddaughter.
mm,
I have so many children, um,
yeah.
lives of students, and I had one student. It was so sweet. The other day, she saw my picture on Facebook, and she said, "You look the same as you did when you taught me sixth grade music." And that's been this is my 40th year.
Wow.
So this is like 35 years later, and this child still remembers me. So it
Mhm.
blesses me. I go in Walmart, hey, Miss Payne, hey, Miss Payne, hey, how you doing? And of course, I was Mama P, and everybody called me Mama P. And
Mhm.
so many of my students don't even call me Dr. Payton, they call me Mama P. Even some
Mm.
of the faculty, because I'm one of the older faculty, and there are a couple of faculty that range in age like my children, and they'll say, hey, Mom. And I just answer, and people think I should be offended because they're not calling me Dr. Payton, but
Mhm.
I'm Denise Murchison Payton. The doctor I was blessed with as a title. People get hung up on titles.
Mm.
I
Mm.
don't introduce myself to anybody as Dr. Denise Payton. I just say I'm Denise Payton. And if they happen to see, oh, you're Dr. Payton, I need to call you Dr. Payton. I said, you can call me Denise Payton. You can call me Denise.
Right.
But if you want to, you talk about our time at Spring Lake Middle School. You
Mm.
were a great assistant.
I was praying and asking God if I should even mention that because it was
I'm
my
going
very
to
first year and
it was
I
your
was
very first
horrible.
year and you had a difficult job. And I knew it. And I knew it. And the only thing God told me to do was to keep you encouraged. And you were my boss and I was old enough to be your mother, but I gave you the utmost respect because see that's what people don't real respect is earned. And I could
Yeah.
celebrate because I said that's that same young girl that was singing in that choir down there in Sampson County. Because when we saw each other at the first meeting, we were like,
Yeah.
oh, people
Right.
didn't know. See, that's another thing. People don't know people's histories together,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And you were excellent. You were excellent. Excellent. You knew your
I'm really gonna
job. You knew your job and you did it. You had some noise around you. We'll
cry.
leave it like that. You had some noise. But see where God has you now? You see where God has you now?
Mm-hmm.
That was a difficult time. It was a difficult time for me too. It was a difficult time. But see how God has blessed.
Hmm.
And you
Let me
go
tell
all
you.
the way to Missouri and find me again on Facebook.
Let me
Thank
tell
you
you.
for Facebook.
This
Uh,
woman saved my life. When let me tell you, you need the kind of people on your team that you can go to and they're gonna hand you some oil.
you remember that?
I said
I
at,
keep my oil still.
at the time she was Miss Payton. I said, Miss Payton, I said, I am going through it. I am going through it. It was my very first year as an assistant principal. We were at a school that was 99% free and reduced lunch. So you're dealing with,
Lean
the
on me. That's
children.
what we're dealing
Yeah,
with. Far East,
yeah,
very sad. That's what.
right. We are dealing with some children that come with some baggage.
Yes.
And it was such a different environment for me that I mean, I was from Sampson County down, it's cornfields and hogs and all of that kind of stuff. And it was kind of a city thing for me. When I made that transition, there was a few problems that I wasn't accustomed to dealing with, but I always knew that if I could get to her room, whoo, my goodness. If I could get to her room, I knew that she was praying. And she handed me some oil one day. And I just want to say thank you for standing and thank you for the compliment. It was so difficult. And those kinds of things, if you look at them as failure, could be considered failure.
You did not fail.
But God
You
never
never failed.
fails.
God never fails. No need to worry. No need to fret. Lord God Almighty has never failed me yet. That's
Yes,
another
yes,
song you can hold on to because that's a song. But
yes, yes, yes.
uh, they wanted you to fail. I'm just calling out like it is. I mean, that's the way I have always been. But
Mm-hmm.
see, when God is in control,
Woo.
they might think they won, but I don't think those lives, or those things are as prosperous as you are now.
They thought they killed Jesus too.
Okay, my former pastor, Reverend Lowe, who passed on, but he was
Mm.
such a gentle giant and so kind to me during my most difficult times of my life. He was
Mhm.
there. And this is one thing I want you to remember, and all the viewers. Sometimes you think you've been buried, but they didn't realize that you were a seed.
Mm, mm.
You were planted, not buried, planted. And when a seed is planted, if it's nurtured properly, it's going to grow. So you
Hallelujah to
remember
God.
that in all that you do. People have buried me, I don't know how many times. You know, people dislike me just because I breathe.
Yeah.
Sometimes I often say that, and I go, I never get out of my lane. I'm blessed to do, and I'm blessed to know how to do a lot of things, Shanice. I mean, like, a whole lot of things. But
Right.
music is my ministry, and I stay in my lane. And I don't get out of my lane unless someone asks me. If you
Mm-hmm.
are over the food bank, you're over the food bank. Now, if you need me to contribute to the food bank, I'll go to the store, get some food, and bring it to you to help you with your project. But I pride myself in staying in my lane. I am a musician, I'm a
Mm-hmm.
minister, music worship leader. That's what I do. But I can't tell you how many people want to push me out of that lane because maybe they can sing better than me. Maybe they have better ideas than I have, which they
Mm-hmm.
haven't figured out how they could possibly share that with me. Uh, you know what I mean? They can say, "Well, have you tried?" But they don't do that.
Yeah.
They just want to you get out of the way because we want to move forward.
Right.
I can't tell you how many
Right.
people want to do that, and what they don't realize is
Mm-hmm.
God has blessed me with a spiritual ear, and a lot of times I hear, and I know,
Mm.
and I see, and I
Mm-hmm.
know when you're genuine. I may not say a word. I might just say, "Well, thank you so much. You're so sweet." But I know when you're not genuine, you know, because God doesn't let anything come at His people unaware. He doesn't. He doesn't. And if
Right.
our spirits do not agree, if I feel some kind of
Mm-hmm.
way, I'm going to kind of back,
Right.
because I'm saying you got an ulterior motive here. And then you'll find those whenever you do begin the ascent of doing something well, they want to catch hold to your
Mm-hmm.
dress. Then they love you to death. Then you are their relative, you are their
Right.
friend, you are their everything because now you you've
Yeah.
moved up. And I'm just being real and talking with you this morning.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm not afraid to say those things other people are afraid to
Okay.
say because when I'm talking, Shanice,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still clowning around and cutting up. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about anybody. You remember I would just always say, "Girl, what's wrong with you? Hold your head up." Da, da, da,
Right.
And people would think when we had our heads together, maybe we were talking about them. That's not the case for me. I just clown around and talk because
Right.
life is too short to just simply be so deep all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you got to be approachable in this life, in this Christian life. And
Absolutely.
yes, I think God blessed me as a magnet. People are drawn
Mm-hmm.
to me,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to. If I can't help you, I'm not going to hurt you
Amen.
because I want to rest at night. And if I can't sleep at night, it's not because I have done something to someone, because I don't do that. But I
Right.
get a lot of that. I take a lot of daggers, and then
Mm-hmm.
because my children are successful, they get daggers. You know, just because
Mm-hmm.
they're somehow related to me. You know, oh, she thinks her children. Well, who in the world wouldn't brag on their children? It's a poor frog that doesn't praise his own pond, and
Right.
I am so blessed to have children that are exceptional in what they do. And
Amen.
then for Christmas, it had been 43 years, and it was the first Christmas that I didn't have a Christmas concert. So what did I do? I told my
Mm-hmm.
kids, I said, let's sing together and do like 30 minutes. And they just, at first they were like, oh, mama, just mama. I said, well, I need it. As soon as I said, I
Mm-hmm.
need it,
And it was
you know,
amazing.
we did a concert. And I said, I didn't have to leave my house because I got a choir in my house,
Yes.
you know. So I'm all over the place. Shanice, get me back on track.
No, I love it. I love it. I I I'm telling you, I could do this all morning. I just want to make sure that I do get an opportunity to talk about this, discourage to encourage, and the coin flips again. We will be doing a book giveaway. Thank you all for tuning in today and listening to the golden nuggets of wisdom that are dropping from the Dr. Denise Payton this morning. And you guys stick around. We're almost done here, but I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to purchase this. We're going to give away a copy this morning. We're going to do a drawing and give away a copy. And I just so enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to the next one. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. Um, because I could feel your heart, and I also could feel that, in some sense, there were some stories there that could have gone a little deeper, but you are so respectful of people in the way that you presented the things that you wanted to say. Tell me a little bit about, and you guys can get this on Amazon too, by the way. I'll make sure that I put that in the description. Let's talk about your book, Discouraged to Encourage, and the coin flips again. What inspired you to tell your story? What inspired you to tell your story?
Okay. Discouraged to encourage, and the coin flips again. And because the book is out there, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened.
Okay.
I was sitting, I have an empty nest now.
Mm,
One thing I promised my children when they were young, that when they got older, I was not going to live my life through them.
mm,
I was not going to try to tag along with them everywhere they went, and be a part, because they are adults and they have their own
right.
life. So I would be sitting in here, and I realized that when my life was in the lowest point, I made sure my children got some counseling, but
Mm,
I
mm,
I had to stay strong, and I had to be the well, I've always been the one pulling the wagon, if we will. For those of
mm-hmm,
you that know my ex, if you don't agree, you don't understand things that happen in four walls, because you don't get it. And I kept telling God, because I was married 17 years, and
mm-hmm,
I believe I was a very good wife. I did everything that I was supposed to do, taking care of the home, taking care of the children, taking care of my husband, cooking dinner, being taking son to practice, taking daughter to practice, and still teaching full time.
mm,
And my husband went into the ministry, and something happened, and something happened mentally. I had only been married 6 months. I had 6 months of marital bliss, and then my husband got sick.
mm,
But our vows say, better word, right? Rich
right.
or sickness and in health. Well, I was devastated with the way my life turned, because it literally turned overnight. And I
Mm,
had to flee my home with my children in order to stay alive. And I told God, I said, God, for better or for worse, you gave me worse. For richer, for poor, you gave me poor. In sickness and in health, you gave me sickness. I didn't get
mm,
any of the other side of the coin.
mm,
But that was me just talking to God, because I could
mm-hmm,
not understand how I could be a good mother and be a good wife and be a good upstanding citizen, and this happened to me, and my whole home fall apart, and now I'm struggling trying to keep a roof over our heads, and driving the raggediest car in Spring Lake, and it would smoke, and I'll make you laugh right now. It would smoke, and my children would hide on the floor when we got we got to a stop sign, because the car would start smoking, and I would say, "Y'all are punks, y'all are punks, y'all need to sit up." I no, they wouldn't do that. You know, they would. I'm just telling the truth. And
that's
as I
funny.
wrote this, I started reflecting on the fact, as I said earlier, I was poor, but I didn't know it. And we had an area of real soft sand coming down our road, and we were the only house back there. So if you came down that road, you were coming to see the Murchisons. And there was a real soft
Mm-hmm,
place, and that was called a sand bed. And so in the summertime,
mm.
all we could do was just stick our feet in there, and it was just wonderful. And so I started thinking about how God had blessed me, and I said, I've come a long way from the because
Mm.
I'm the seventh of seven children, but I'm the only one with college degree. Because I'm
Mm.
a late child and I had siblings old enough to be my parents. I have nieces and
Wow.
nephews that are only 8 months younger than me.
Wow.
Okay. So I started thinking about that and thinking about my journey and not to just make it, I want to put this the right way because I've forgiven him and moved forward, and I'm not going to harbor because whenever it's your mind, you can't control that. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
not like
Mm-hmm.
just being mean.
Right.
When it's that,
Right. It's a mental
right,
illness.
and
Yeah.
that's very much so. And I suffered some from depression and anxiety, and that's another taboo subject
Mm-hmm.
African Americans don't want to talk about, but it does exist. Anyway, as I
Amen.
did, and
Same
the
here.
coin flips again, I realized, Shanice, to just put it, just encapsulate it in a cup. You win if you call the right thing with heads or tails.
Mm.
If you call heads
Mm-hmm.
and I flip the coin and it lands on heads, you won. If you call tails and it lands on tails,
Mm-hmm.
you won. So how can I say I got the other side of the coin? Because
Mm.
sometimes when I got the other side of the coin, I won. Through that,
Right.
I got my master's degree. I was able to keep my house. I was able to get a new
Mm.
car. Lights never been off. Food on the table. When
Mm-hmm.
Jared finally graduates, I'm completely in the house by myself. I start working on my doctorate. And so the
Wow.
coin flipped again. And I stood
Mm.
there and got hooded after 7.5 years of difficult study and writing a dissertation. And they said, Dr. Denise Murchison
Mm-hmm.
Payton. And my
Mm.
chair hooded me and I walked off. And I was so stoic, you know. And then after the ceremony was over and my sister and my kids came to me, then I got the ugly cry. I did it. I did it. I did it. The ugly cry. And my sister said I was
Yeah.
when you were going to realize that you had made it, that you did it.
Mm.
One of the hardest things I've ever had to do. My sister reminds me often.
Mm.
She said, "Every great thing you've done, you did it by yourself, you and God, because you didn't have a significant other to support you." You know, and I haven't had a significant other, and that is not a plea for a mate. Whoever is listening, whoever is listening, I just want you to know, me and the Lord are doing just fine. Um, but it was just me and God. And I felt like if I talked about my
Mm-hmm.
struggles, somebody else went through it. If I talked about being very, very low, someone else
Mm.
went through it. When I talked about being at Pine Forest and being the only black in the top vocal group, did all the singing for everything, but awards day, it wasn't given to me. It wasn't given. And every black teacher,
Mm.
1975, said I was robbed. Then I go to A&E and have my first
Mm.
voice lessons, and all of a sudden there's a voice there that I didn't know existed. And I come back home to Pine Forest. That first time you come back home, you go visit your high school. And I went there
Mm.
and I let her rip.
Mm-hmm.
And my music teacher said, I had no idea you could sing like that. And I said, you never gave me a chance. I said, you had me sing everything applying for our senior high school. And the only thing I
Mm.
received was honorable mention. That's when I realized the coin is flipping. That's why
Wow.
sometimes you would come in my room and we would be playing music bingo, and other teachers would have candy and things like that, and I wouldn't have any prizes. And the kids would
Mhm.
say, Miss Payne, you don't have any prizes. I said, I want you to realize that you can win and never receive anything. Any. And you
Mm.
have to just say, I said, you
Ooh,
just
what
have
a
to take that
lesson. Oh
challenge
my goodness.
to know you won. Because you're not going to receive every time you
Wow.
do something good. You're not going to
That's a word.
receive it. And that was really my whole reason for not giving out prizes, not giving out candy, because I know that,
Mm.
how many things have you accomplished in your life that you can honestly say
Mm-hmm.
you got something on your wall, or a check or something like that? So that's when you go back
Right.
and you say, oh, the coin flips again. That's why I say I have been discouraged in my life in
Mm.
order to encourage others. That's why the book is named Discouraged to Encourage,
Amazing.
and think about how the coin flips again. And I let
So
you
good.
into some very personal things in my life, but they're not secrets, because if you lived in Spring Lake, you knew. You know what I mean? If you lived around me, you knew. And
Mm-hmm.
through it all, I still pressed uh, to sing. Singing was like my saving grace. And I didn't start back performing until I was 40 years old,
Mm-hmm.
because I was
Yes.
too busy trying my best to supply the needs in my
Mm.
home. I sang everywhere I could sing, and my daughter said she had the reckoning when she went to college, that she said, I used to think mommy just loved to sing, but now I realize mommy was paying the bills. And you don't realize. And I sang, and I
Mm.
would just sing and sing and sing.
Wow.
And then when I was 40, God opened up some of those doors, and I was part of the Longleaf Opera Company for like 10 or 15 years, and they were just like taken aback with me. And
Mm.
people, oh, we want Dr. Payton, we want Dr. Payton. But I do want to respond to one question that you did on here. How did I get to? This is another thing of how God does. How did I get from Spring Lake Junior High Middle School to Fayetteville State?
Mm-hmm.
When I was teaching there, and it was during the time you were there, do you remember me
Mm-hmm.
performing with Fayetteville State Concert Choir, going to Europe, going to Canada? You remember off those that week? Dr. Harrison approved it, principal approved it, and I
Mm.
had a sub in my room. That choir director at Fayetteville State took me as their soprano soloist.
Mm-hmm.
Took me to Paris, France, Liège, Belgium, Bruges, Belgium, and Brussels, Belgium,
Wow.
and then took me to sing with the Vancouver Symphony Orchestra in Canada. Yes, ma'am. And when he got ready, this is Dr. Marvin Curtis, good friend of mine. When he
Wow.
got ready to leave Fayetteville State, he called me at Spring Lake Middle School, and he said,
Mm-hmm.
Denise, I'm leaving. I think you would be the best one to take my
Hmm.
place. And I said, me? He said, yes, yes. He said, you have traveled with us.
Wow.
And the department chair said, oh, I've heard Denise sing. Yeah, oh yeah, we'll take Denise. And the dean said, is that who you want? And they said, yes. And Shanice, that's how I
Mm.
got to State.
Wow.
Did not fill out an application. I did not have an audition. See, this is the way when I knew it was God.
Mm-hmm.
None of the traditional avenues of getting a college job were there. And when I went
Mm-hmm.
to Fayetteville State, I had 28 years of teaching with Cumberland County Schools. So I didn't
Mm-hmm.
retire because it was state job to state job. And I want you to know
Mm-hmm.
that your Mama P is in her 40th year. And people say, "Are you going to continue?" And I said, "All I'm asking is for God to tell me, okay, it's time for you to stop now and give somebody else a chance, you know, or if I stayed
Mm-hmm.
on teaching music, because touring with the choir is tedious. I am getting
Yeah.
older, you know. Um, those same kind of children that we had at Spring Lake, they go to Fayetteville State. Saw my name in
Mm-hmm.
the catalog, and they go, it's can't be the same as Peyton. And then whenever they walk in, they come out, we got Miss Peyton again. You know, that's Dr. Peyton, and they can't get used to Dr. Peyton. I said, don't worry about it. You know, don't worry about it, because
Yeah.
I've known you since you were 11. I mean, or
Yeah.
something like that. And I live in the community, and these kids used to come
Yeah.
in and out of my house visiting my own children. You know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, so I know I could keep
That's beautiful.
going, but uh,
That's
I
amazing.
do have to ask myself still, as our last little question here is, am I happy? I
Mm-hmm.
still cannot answer that question. I function.
Mm.
I function.
Yeah.
The love that I have for my children and my family, the love I have for you, the
Mm.
love I have for those who let me know that I made some sort of difference in their life, makes
Yes.
me very happy. It makes me
Mm-hmm.
blessed. And
Mm-hmm.
I think we put too much on the word happy. I'm content.
Yes.
I'm content,
Right.
and I'm blessed to have what I need. But if there's
Yes.
someone out there that I can help or talk to or try to let them know that they can make it when other people are saying, if I were you, I would give up. If I had given up during the lowest point of my life,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have a master's degree. I wouldn't have a doctorate. I wouldn't have had a singing career. I wouldn't be singing right now. I'm singing next week when Singers Masks, but we're doing Lift Every Voice and Sing, and I'm one of the soloists. And do you remember Arlene Kearns at Spring Lake when you were there? She was a sixth grade
Mm.
teacher. She's my publisher.
Wow. That's
She was right there
something.
on C Hall when you were there.
Oh.
You might not remember. I might have to show you a picture, but you were her assistant principal too.
Mm-hmm. Mm. I have some trauma, so there's a few things that are missing from my memories.
This coin will flip again, babe. The coin has flipped for you
It does.
several
Yes.
times, and it is flipped for you
Yes.
in a very positive way. And
Thank
I
you.
know we're over time, so I hope I get a chance to talk with you again. Uh, but as we
Absolutely.
close today, I want to remind you that the coin will continue to flip, and you just be ready to move and don't be afraid. That's our problem, because I still will ponder. I
Mm-hmm.
think there are still things that I probably could have achieved in my life, but I was afraid to take the step. But not afraid of the job, but my fear was not being able to provide,
Mm.
because I don't have a safety net.
Right.
I don't have anyone I can turn to write me a check.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, and because I've had to be the one to take care of everything. I had pulled the wagon for such a long time,
Yeah.
and sometimes it takes its toll, and sometimes I still cry, and I
Mm-hmm.
say, God, when will it get any easier? When will it get any easier? And He wakes me up, and I start on my day, you know. And
Yes.
sometimes I walk in here, and I'm like, I need to retire. I need to give it up. And then I'll come back and I say, students, I think I might retire. And they go, we won't make it, Mama P, you got to stay here till I graduate. You won't make it. And but then there was one student when the coin flipped, and I declare I keep that little nugget in my heart. And this student told me, they said, Mama P, you're not here just to teach us music.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
You're here to keep us rooted and grounded,
Yes.
us encouraged. And I had several students that wanted to give up. And my advice to them, I said, you messed up with that professor, right? Yes, ma'am. I said, a crow is a tough bird to eat.
Yeah.
Some hot sauce on stew. And while that professor is fussing you out, I say, you sit right there and you chew until you get a C.
That's really good. I
I said,
like
because that's the only professor that teaches that. Yes, ma'am. And then their parents didn't come to their commencement.
that. Oh yeah, that's tough.
So when they walked across the stage, I stood up.
Mm.
I said, remember, you got somebody.
Wow.
I'll stand up for you. I'm Mama P. I'll stand up,
Mm.
So I stand up for you still.
Thank you.
And I mean every word that I say. And I hope I'll get to Missouri. I have never been to St. Louis. Out of all my travels in the world, I have never been there. But I hope I
Yes,
said something today to encourage your
absolutely.
viewers and to know that all of our help does come from God. We have to be willing, and sometimes God doesn't tell us what we want to hear. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I wanted, God. Okay, well, He said, well, if you do this, then you'll be able to do something else. I thank you so much,
Right.
Miss Shanice Miller Thomas, as we used to say, Shanice. Thank you hold a very special place in my heart, and thank you for blessing me with this platform just to give me a chance to talk and to share and just to try to be a blessing. And you
Thank
figure out how
you.
you want to do the book. If you are
Thank
interested in the book,
you.
everybody, it is on Amazon. If you don't want to go through Amazon, you can just contact me. And I have them here at my house as well. And I can just mail it to you. When you get it from me, you get a bookmark. And just so you know, there are scriptures that go along with every chapter because I had to find scriptures for that coin flip.
Mm.
Okay. I see the chat
Yes,
is
yes,
full.
yes. Amazing. That was amazing. I could sit here. I tell you for the rest of the day. Thank you all viewers that have been here with us, and for all of your kind comments and encouragement. I do believe that everyone that was here was blessed by so many things that were said this morning, so many nuggets of wisdom. Tangela said she needed it. Felicia said thank you. It was a blessing. Miss Velveeta said thanks. Great message. So I'm going to do the book giveaway now. So for anybody who's interested, I want you to put me in the comments if you want to get a copy. And I'm going to do it on screen here. I'm going to share my screen and turn my wheel of names. So put me in the comments, and then I'll put your name on the wheel. We'll spin the wheel, and then you can give me your address once we have our winner announced. So I'm just going to wait for just a few moments for those who would like to comment. Sorry if you're going to watch this on the replay. This is only for those who were present. You must be present to win. All right, Miss Velveeta, I got you. Going to put your name on the wheel. All right. Who else do we have here? Miss Tangela, Miss Felicia. All right, Tangela. And Miss Felicia, I love Miss Felicia. She's going to be coming up later on in the year on our show. I'm excited to have her on. She has a beautiful outreach ministry here. But yeah, come on out to the Midwest. There's so much to do out here. It is like, what do they call it? The biggest little city in the Midwest. It's a hometown feel where everybody knows everybody. Um, but we got some big city perks too. All right, I have 3 people going once, going twice. LTS. All right, LTS, and I'm not sure if that's male or female, but I shall find out. I'm just going to put it in LTS, and I can't see the picture. LTS said me. Okay, I see you, beautiful Miss LTS. All right, I'm counting down. 5, 4. Anybody else? Oh, Miss Sharon. Thank you, Miss Sharon. I got you. Miss Sharon Harris, thank you for being here. And you guys, please share this. I believe that there was some things shared today. I could have her on again next week and and tell you guys how amazing this was, and just all of the wisdom. I'm telling you, don't forsake our elders. We need them. All right. Okay, I'm gonna spin the wheel. Anybody else? Last chance. Going once, going twice. All right, I'm going to share my screen here, so hold tight. I always want to say, Miss Payton, hold tight. I'll come back to you. All right, hold tight. We're going to spin our wheel of names here. I'm going to share my screen. All righty, can you guys see my wheel of names? Let me show it. There we go. Show it in the stream, Shawnice. All right, there's the wheel of names. I'm going to stop my video. Here we go, wheel of names.
Oh.
Congratulations, Miss Felicia. All right. Congratulations. And I already have your address, so I will get it sent out to you. I'll get it on Amazon and get that sent out to you this morning. All right, Miss Sessoms, I see you there. All right, congratulations, Felicia. I'll get that sent out to you and anybody else who is interested in connecting with Miss Denise Murchison Payton. You can follow her on Facebook. You can just look her up under this name, Denise Murchison Payton.
And my author page is Dr. Denise M. Payton.
Okay, Dr. Denise M. Payton.
Mm-hmm. That's the author's page.
Okay, your author's page. Okay, great.
So either one.
So that is her personal page.
Mm-hmm. And
that's her personal page.
They can send me a friend request if they'd like.
All righty. And you said the other one is Dr. Gotcha.
M. Payton.
All right. And that is the author page. So we'll make sure I get the right information out there. There we go. Dr. Denise, and what happened to the M, Shawnice? Oh, Lord. There's the M. Now, there we got it. All this fancy technology. Here we go. All right, follow her on Facebook, Dr. Denise M. Payton, on her author's page. And she also has a CD that if you want to connect with her, you can get more information about getting the CD, Songs in D for Denise. And
Inspirational Songs of Faith.
Inspirational Songs of Faith. So thank you again so much, and thank you all for hanging with us today. I am Shawnice Miller Thomas. Typically, I'm here on the first Saturday of the month doing Super Saturday. I had to postpone last week, but I was back this week. But tune in and come and celebrate these super friends that God has allowed to be a part of my life. So Super Saturday, I'm celebrating my super friends who are doing super things for a super God. And Shawnice Miller Thomas here and Dr. Denise Payton, my wonderful guest. And you guys, I will see you on the other side of the coin.
All right. Have a
Take
good
care,
day, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.